Good morning, ladies. How you doing? Out here today at the Fairfax City Festival this time, once again spreading the message of peace, love, and liberty. Meeting with people, talking about the issues that matter to us locally, and right now the most important thing I can tell you, vote. No delusions of grandeur, but you know really what it comes down to? Showing people it can be done. Make the time and please go to vote. I'm Dave Crance, and I approve of this message.
All right. Good morning and welcome to another episode of the Liberty Dad Podcast, a discussion on politics and culture. I am your host, DL, America's most objective libertarian, tuning in live. Thank you so much for giving me your time so early. All right. Remember, folks, this show does not run on freedom fumes alone. If you're watching me on Rumble, smash that green $ during the show to drop a Rumble rant. It's kind of like tossing me a cold one, 7:30 in the morning, because that's a good thing, right? Right. Anyway, it keeps the vibes high and the mics on. And if you want to go all in, then click that subscribe for just $5 a month. Your support helps me fight the good fight. All right, let's get into it. We got a couple announcements here real quick. All right. Tonight, I've got Alan Rubio for Everett City Council District 4 on, Everett City Council for Washington. And then tomorrow morning, we're going to have Matthew Morgan for New York City Council. He's the New York City Council candidate for Brooklyn's 39th district. And then, one more. tomorrow night, 6:30, we got Roberto Torres for Toledo mayor. Yeah, you might have remember yesterday I started the show and I was like, "Hey, where is he? I don't know." There was an email confusion. I will take the blame for that. There was an email confusion. We got it worked out, and he will be here on the show tomorrow night. So look forward to that. But for now, we're in the present. And today, joining me is Dave Crance, candidate for Virginia House of Delegates. And this is, which is the number? I lost the number. Oh, no. 13. Yes, 13. I was like, is it 13? I think it's 13. Yes, it's 13. I want to make sure I get the right one. All right. So let's get him in here, and we're going to talk about his run for the Virginia House of Delegates, District 13. Good morning, Dave. How are you?
Hey, good morning. Great to be with you. Happy
Awesome.
Wednesday.
Yes, sir.
Waking up, getting ready for the day.
I gotta move this. Hold on. Let me move this out of the way. There we go. Now I can look at you. All right. So we're both here 7:30, and I'm awake, and you definitely seem awake. So this is awesome. You're running for House of Delegates. Tell me, like, what motivated you to run? Do you love politics? Is it just great? You're like, I can't wait to get in there and vote on some bills that I didn't read.
Yeah, that was it. No, truth of the matter is, I had never foreseen myself running for office. This is my second run up here in Virginia, Falls Church, Fairfax area with it as House Delegate, same office with it. So I think we got to start a little bit there. Within the Libertarian Party, we had a lot of fallout back there in that 2020, 2021 range with it, which kind of really hurt our state party. I've been active in our local affiliate, LP Nova, for years. So, watching the state kind of almost fall aside and getting involved in rebooting that that fall, I'm sitting there going into 2021 and I'm looking at it like 2023. I'm looking at it like, okay, what next? I'm in Northern Virginia where in my particular district, the current incumbent has been here. He's going in the second decade.
Okay.
Unchallenged. He's going into his second. He's in his second decade. Unchallenged. GOP hadn't run anybody in 2 of the last 3 cycles. Most of Northern Virginia around the Beltway, straight blue districts, just unchallenged with it. So I'm sitting there almost Memorial Day, a little over 2 years ago, looking at this, and I'm like, if we don't have other people running, then we no longer have a democracy. So I'm like, I can do this. And that's kind of how it started. It's like more in the sense of I can do this. So I made a few calls trying to find out how to do it. Local party and friends, nobody had run in quite a while. So at the end, I had to research, figure it out myself. And the due date for everything was June 20th or June 19th that year. Again, this is like the weekend of Memorial Day. So I print out the signature forms I need. I fill out the stuff that Friday, print out the signature forms, go down to the Memorial Day parade here in town, walk a couple blocks over the weekend. And I'm like, well, I got 150 signatures. That wasn't hard. And then from there, filed the paperwork and literally got on that ballot last minute. The first run was mainly to get a name and to show that somebody could stand up. I really wanted to prove to people that we could run. And it wasn't so much the libertarian angle as saying, look, independent, green, forward, me as a libertarian, we can all get on the ballot. I'm one of those people that I love the Libertarian Party. That's me. But I think we ought to have not just a third party, a fourth, a fifth party to force people back to the middle long term. That's really my goal of everything. So I jump out, get the campaign going. Couldn't get the meta permissions for Facebook ads. Getting permissions online for political ads is challenging.
Yes.
You actually have to do, with all the technology, you have to do the paper mail system to verify who you are with Meta and these other organizations. So I couldn't get anything up and running really until almost August, September, I think, where I could finally access Facebook and use it to boost. Website, I think we got up in August. So it was a really last minute campaign. But what I did do with the support, again, I can't speak enough of my local affiliate. LP Nova here. They have been dedicated all along the way. With the support of members there, friends of my own, family, we've got 19 precincts. We're talking, when we say a House of Delegates district, and if you look on the map, it looks small. I got 58,000 voters here.
Okay.
I got 19 precincts to deal with. And we were able to man 18 of those precincts last time around. We had somebody staffed there, man or woman, all day long. So I'm sitting there, election night comes around. We've been working all day. I had been running since 1 a.m. the morning of election day, getting signs out, lining people up, getting material out, get back around watching that evening. And all I'm thinking to myself is, okay, don't let me be the 3% guy. They always say 3%. That's something that used to scare us.
Right.
Again, heavy blue district. I never would have imagined breaking 20% up here.
Right.
That was a huge shock to me. I had originally told my wife we'll make one run at it to show people how it's done and then go from there. And that was really the plan, to invest more time in helping other people afterwards, figuring out how it works before if you're going to recruit people to run for office, you should probably do it yourself first to show it can be done, learn the angles. And that's kind of where I think my angle will go long term, helping local people here in Northern Virginia get up and get running and how to do things. Really, because I care and I'm passionate about it. I have my own day job. I'm not looking to make money. But down the road, I want to fill tickets. I want there to be options on every single race around the Beltway and in Fairfax County. But getting 20% of the vote, breaking that number, I'm like, I should probably run a real campaign now that I know what I'm doing once I thought about it. So that's what led to the current campaign. We kept everything, if over 1 out of 4 people are going to trust in me with their vote as a third party, to me, I think the moment you make a decision to vote third party or independent, the moment you make the decision to leave the 2 old parties and vote for somebody, that's putting a lot of trust out there. And to me, if we talk about the battle of bringing things where it's got to be, you're joining that battle with us. You're joining that fight. The moment you check that box for that third party option, you're in the fight with us. You're no longer there to win. You're there to make things better for the future. So I felt obligated to all those individuals to really make one more full-blown run knowing what I'm knowing now. This time around, we're feeling good about it. We had the social media access. We kept the website up. We kept all the infrastructure up for the campaign with it. And because we had such a head start this time, again, we're realistic. We're third party. We are beyond an underdog here, But, we've gotten to almost all the neighborhoods and houses that I wanted to. I'm literally down to just 2-3 precincts that we haven't gotten the door hanging that I want to accomplish with done. We've gotten to all the events. We've been where we need to be. And I think we got a pretty aggressive social media presence with it. We, again, can't give Libertarian Party in Northern Virginia enough credit. The state party's been helpful. So I think we got a really good chance coming up. Election day is on Tuesday with it. So, I've been hitting the evenings. We were out there last weekend. We're all going to be out there Saturday for the last day of early in-person voting. And then right now, and if anybody's watching the show here in Northern Virginia and wants to help out, we're still trying to staff those last precincts on Tuesday. We want a presence at every single precinct. One of the things I did last time is I kept it all local people, except for my family that wanted to help out. Where you can be like, hey, no, son, you can't help me out. You're from Maryland. You can't tell your family not to help.
Right.
Well, what I noticed when I got out there is half the people, well, number one, I noticed the old parties barely can staff their precincts at this point. And then when you meet the people, they're volunteers. They've got some good volunteers, but a lot of their volunteers, I'm from Maryland, I'm from DC, I'm from West Virginia. They're calling people in to staff themselves. So I'm like, you know what? Instead of just staying only local people helping, if anybody's in the state of Virginia or DMV, they're asking for help, I'll take your help. So if anybody's seeing this and you're in the DMV area and you want to volunteer election day for any time, give me a ring. Give me a call, check the website, get in touch with me. I'm very easy to find my contact info. So that's where we're at, DL. We're heading into the end of it right now. I'm excited to see where things go on Tuesday. I would say probably one of the best things that could have happened is after skipping the district 2 of the last 3 elections in the House of Delegates, the local GOP ran a candidate this time.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a 3-way race.
Right.
And, everybody's like, well, that's going to hurt you. And to an extent, it'll hurt some of the vote I got for free last time.
Mm-hmm.
But I can no longer be painted as a Republican. And I have had so many people, I've had people come out on both sides now, working the other in person. You, Dave, I voted for you. I voted straight D, but I voted for you. Keep up the good work. Hey, I voted straight R, but I voted for you at the bottom. Keep up the good work. The response we're getting has been phenomenal, I think, mainly because I can't be painted into any particular corner this time. I can be a true third-party option, and that's what I'm about at the end of the day, DL. This whole campaign is about bringing people back to the middle, getting away from the partisan politics, the rhetoric. If you look at the 2 old parties, after all these decades of failure, here's what we're down to sell you as the old parties. Elect me so I can protect you from her. Right. Elect me so I can protect you from him. They're not even trying to address the issues that matter to us. It's just constant rhetoric driving our people, our community, our neighbors, our families further and further apart. And that's what this campaign is about. Because the other thing I did learn in 23, and I've definitely seen it again, you walk around, you start knocking doors and talking to people, you go to events, they're like you and me. Mm-hmm. Their dads, their moms, they care about their family. They want to be left alone. They want to have politicians who are actually going to be leaders. They don't want to see these constant angry attack ads on their TV and turn on the news and hear how horrible the person who lives across the street is because they put a red or blue sign in their yard. They want to be left alone. They want politicians who are going to go and do their job and get away from this hate-filled rhetoric. Mm-hmm. And that's why I'm running. That's really why I'm running, Deal.
What was the reception like initially when you ran in 23, and then kind of compare that to, like you said, hey, somebody was like, I voted for you, right? Keep up the good work. When I ask you what the reception was, I mean, as a libertarian with libertarian ideas, because sometimes, some of our ideas are a bit radical to other people. So can you describe, like, if you can remember from 23, like what the reception was initially? Were people like hesitant? Were they like, who are you? Were they like, you guys are crazy, and then kind of like, what is it now?
I feel like that's 2 questions I need to answer rolled into one to really understand the reception.
Okay.
Not them dodging. I'm going to come back around to that answer with it.
Sure.
But there's 2 very important things to understand about me and my positions with everything. Mm-hmm. Number one, too often, I'm debating tonight because there's a school board thing that I want to go to. Mm-hmm. I would normally go to over the last decade, but I don't want to go as candidate Dave because I'm afraid I'll be perceived that way. And when I say this, I think it's very important for anybody that watches your show to understand. I don't like the people who pop up out the blue and are suddenly, I'm your candidate, vote for me, these are my ideas, and I'm going to go down to the PTA, I'm going to start showing up. We want to see people who have been invested and involved in their community first. Mm-hmm. Don't decide to run a campaign and then get invested. So I think this is very critical to kind of understand where the campaign's been, where it's going. I was on our board of directors for a Little League. I've coached over there for over a decade. I'm currently coaching my daughter's, assistant coaching because I got the campaign, my daughter's softball team. You take the sports and the kids out of it. I'm chaplain at my VFW going on for I don't know how many years. I handle our youth scholarship programs, our Teacher of the Year awards. I'm in the schools, not to be a politician. I'm in the schools because I care. Chair of our Chamber of Commerce in Falls Church. I am the chamber chair for Chamber of Commerce. I'm actually at the end of my term limits because we actually have term limits. I'm kind of going to get a break from that. In December is my last month after all this time, but I've been invested on it. So I could keep going on and sound like I'm selling myself. I'm not. The point I'm making is I love my community, and I have been very invested in it, as are many people. And I think that's the first step that we have to do because every person I meet, first it's me as Dave. The second thing is libertarian.
Mm-hmm.
So my actions, what I do in my community, how I speak to people, how I treat people, that defines a libertarian in this community. And each and every one of us should remember this,
Mm-hmm.
that we are the definition when we're walking and talking. So that's kind of the first thing, the community involvement with it. The second thing is, as a party, the Libertarian Party is a big tent party. Here lately, these last 4 or 5 years with swings from left to right to this, and people trying to feel like they have to dictate what a libertarian is, has harmed our party. Mm-hmm. And, when I look at myself, I got involved back during what would be called the service years for any of the older people watching, when we had our best governor race in history here in Virginia with a libertarian candidate. And that's back when, and I still am, I'm up there in years, I am that socially liberal, physically conservative libertarian from the day. That hasn't changed. So another thing I think we failed to do in looking at running, look, as my type of candidate, as a socially liberal, physically conservative libertarian, I do great in Northern Virginia. I'll do great in Norfolk. I would do great in Richmond. I'd do great in the metropolitan area. Where I would be horrible is Southern Virginia, the Shenandoah, Appalachia. In any blue area or purple area, I'm a natural fit.
Okay.
Because I am pretty much 80% of every person I meet.
Gotcha.
Now, if I was in a heavy red Republican right-wing area, I wouldn't run for office because I don't feel like I could represent the people there that well. You see, and I think that's the other problem we have is we as candidates are stepping up trying to pound square blocks and round holes, and it's not going to work. So I think it's very important to understand that aspect of it. So once you understand what type of libertarian I am, and then the second thing, I remember at a campaign launch thing we did in 23 with libertarians, one of the things that I am very heavy on is we have a progressive tax bracket here in Virginia, mm-hmm. and I would never raise a single tax. In fact, all I want to do is eliminate taxes, mm-hmm. but I approach it realistically. We're not going to eliminate it overnight without harming a lot of people who, number one, need services and assistance, and number two, have been almost addicted to the services and assistance. We have two things out there. Right. We got to be able to wean some off and still take care of the other. So anyway, coming back to the tax bracket thing, deal. So if you're making just over $18,000 in Virginia, you're paying the same tax percentage as somebody who's making $180,000. That makes literally 0 sense to me. Doesn't mean I want to increase the person making $180,000. I want to reduce their taxes too. But this year, we're looking at about a $2.75 billion overage on our budget in Virginia. Almost $3 billion. $10 billion over the last 4 years. They are taxing us so heavily, they can't even spend it. And then when they do spend it, it's on these pet projects that really do nothing. So coming back to the tax bracket, the first thing I would like to do is take that guy making $18,000, that guy or lady trying to start out, maybe a young person, maybe somebody struggling. I don't want tax brackets to kick in until you make $36,000. I think that's a starting point, DL. Mm-hmm. I don't want to increase anybody else. I think we can take it out of the waste, take it out of the overage, and we can give the people who need it most at least an opportunity to step up.
Right.
And that's kind of my approach from a libertarian angle. Look, it goes back to, the reality of it is, in a perfect world, there'd be no government. In my perfect world, there'd be no need for government. We would all be taking care of each other. Reality is, that's not human nature, sadly. We're going to need some form of government. So what we have needs to be kept as small as possible, as localized as possible, and here basically to protect our rights as people and our freedoms. That should be it. We don't need government for anything else, but we've grown this monster, and we're not gonna jump up and grab this monster by the throat and strangle it. We're gonna have to grab it by the tail and just keep kicking at it till we drag it back down. So coming back around to your question, what was the reception? The reception was good. That first libertarian event I did for opening, talking about that tax bracket, it was immediately like, well, if you don't get rid of all taxes, you're not going to get any libertarian votes, Dave. Man, he's a buddy of mine. I looked at him. I was like, so you think in my district, I'm going to vote for myself. You're saying the other 4 libertarian voters aren't going to vote for me?
Mm-hmm.
And there's the reality we have to understand. There's not that many libertarians out there. We get to a point where within our own community, we feel like there is. But if you go to a door and if you, number one, say libertarian, whatever preconceived notion they may or may not even have kicks in. Number 2, most of them don't even know what a libertarian is. They've heard about some guy running across the stage or somebody making a comment up in another state, but that's all they know. So you have to start out introducing yourself, talking about who you are,
Mm-hmm.
and then move to the libertarian part, because by the time you're done talking, I'm going to tell you this, 4 out of 5 people in America, at least in my district, are libertarians. They just don't know it or didn't know it. Let me put it that way. They didn't know it. They know it now. Once you start talking and engaging with people and in plain speak, honest, issue-orientated plain speak, there's no need to quote economic theses to people at the door. They don't want to hear that. Right. They want to hear what you're going to do to help us. So local reception at the polling places and knocking on doors was okay. I mean, nothing negative the first time around. And again, several people, very positive. I can remember election day, the first time around, people wanting to get selfies. I'll tell you one thing. Democratic election worker at one particular polling place, God bless her, one of their volunteers, she comes running up to me. She's like, can I use my phone? Can I get a selfie with you? And I'm like, sure, why? And she's like, okay, I've been a Democrat all my life. My husband's a good Democrat. Somehow we've raised a libertarian son, and he thinks you're God. I don't know where we failed him. God bless her, exactly. And he thinks you're God. Just let me get the photo so I can show him that I actually met you. So, that's the reality of what it should be.
Mm-hmm.
It shouldn't be negativity constantly attacking and things like that. But overall, the response, I really can't complain. What I got a lot of, and this is where people sometimes have difficulty comprehending motivations with it. Mm-hmm. I did get a lot of, why are you running as a libertarian? Join us, run this, take our state party oath, and we can get you backing. You can do this. Mm-hmm. And you hear that out there. Think about running for a local position with us. We can back you. All you got to do, look, you're almost with us now. You're only off by about 25%. The party options are there, DL. Mm-hmm. Other people, why don't you run as an independent? You'll win. I have heard a lot of that since the first campaign. But running as an independent just to win is dishonest to myself. Mm-hmm. Joining another party just to win, for me personally, is dishonest to myself. That saying, I do know a lot of people in both the other parties who only join those parties because that's the only way I can win. Mm-hmm. I'm very connected with the community, a lot of people. And, I understand where they come up with, look, I got this position, at least down the road, when I move up, I'll be able to move things this way for us and do better. I get where they're coming from, so I will never insult that. It's a different line of mm-hmm. battle. But right. I think even for them to be successful long-term, there needs to be a threat to the two-party system.
Gotcha.
If there is no threat, this doesn't end. And if I want people to stand up behind me, I've got to stand up first. So I'm out here near George Mason. I have met so many of those kids. Wonderfully brilliant, outstanding young people. When I look at going back to the whole liberal and Mises caucus and all this stuff, there was a point 3 years ago where a lot of bright young people came into our party. Mm-hmm. I was so impressed. Finally. I mean, don't get me wrong. But if you've been sitting around for 20 years and 15 of them was listening to how we got to legalize marijuana, like, do we have another issue, guys? I mean, I get it, but
Right.
we need something better to stand on. So we've had an influx of bright young people in our party, regardless of right, left, whatever. We've got so many young, intelligent people out there that could run and be outstanding candidates. But at the end of the day, there has to be a motivation and a reason for them to do so. There has to be a hope.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's going to just jump up and run into well, I guess I'm going to jump up and run in the fire, but nobody else is going to jump up and just
Right.
run unless you're like, wow, that guy almost made it.
Right.
Maybe I can. And that's really what every campaign should be about. That's really what this battle is about. It's just taking the line and moving it a little further with each campaign, with each effort,
Mm-hmm.
and showing that it can eventually be done.
It's interesting. I know a lot of libertarians will argue and they'll complain when they hear socially liberal, fiscally conservative. They get mad about that. But what I think was interesting about how you presented it, and it kind of goes toward what you said that you do, is you said, look, in this area, I am pretty much like most of the other people. My neighbors and we share a lot of values. And then you said, but in these other areas, I would be a little out of the water here. I would be a fish out of water. And so it wouldn't make sense for me to run. And I think this is a key component is, one of the things that I've always talked about is getting the right people in the right position. And, it sounds like when you get somebody in the right position, in particular, in this particular case, you're talking about a candidate. I think it becomes an interesting exercise in just going out, talking to people, and then they can first find out whoever this candidate is right now that's talking to me, that's somebody I might actually have over for dinner outside of a campaign, right? Like it's the whole, would you share a beer with them, right? But if that question is asked after you know they're a candidate, it's far different than if you ask them, okay, would you share a beer with this person? Oh, well, yeah, that's Dave Crance from down the road. He's, very active in the school and he's very active in, I think you said the VFW and other organizations, right? And so now people know you as the neighbor, the guy down the road who they've already got some level of trust with. So I think that was a very interesting way to present it. What I'd like to do is shift over to some of the policy ideas that you have that you're talking about. So, what's like the top one or two, three, if you want, policy ideas that are resonating with the voters when you talk to them?
Taxpayers' Bill of Rights.
Okay, tell us about that.
So Colorado has what's called TABOR. They have TABOR legislation. They did an amendment to their constitution while we're talking about amendments to constitutions in Virginia every single day. They did an amendment to their constitution long ago, which is their Taxpayers' Bill of Rights, which states that, and I'm not going to go into the complicated form due to our time because I do want to talk about other things.
Sure.
Basically, it comes down to the state and local governments cannot add a new tax or increase an existing tax without going to the ballot for voter approval.
Okay.
And in addition, if you look up Colorado Tabor refund, TABOR, Tabor refund. In addition, if they have money left over, like Virginia has billions, if they have money left over beyond, and they use an indexing point for inflation to make sure that services are covered, but if they have money left over, they have to refund it. And they do. Everybody gets a check who paid in. If the money's left over, it comes back to them. I think in Virginia, we can look at our state budget. We've got a state budget that's larger than probably 20 countries in the world, maybe more, as a state. Fairfax County schools in Virginia, seeing as how they get, and it's great schools. My children have all gone there. But should we have a county school system whose budget as a county school system is larger than half the entire budget of 10 different states? 10 states out there have a budget for everything they do. Fairfax County School equals half of their whole budget, annual budget, a school system. Wow. So our community, our governments at every level, school, city, local, they have enough money. And their answer to everything is just increase taxes. We need more. And that's what I want to stop. I want to stop the increases. Because again, libertarians, it doesn't have to be all or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
What we have to agree on to say we're libertarians is reducing the government footprint on our back. What that means to you might be different to me. That may be eliminating the government altogether to some people. To me, it means chopping it back to a reasonable level, what the founders and the framers of the Constitution originally meant for the government to be, both federal and state level with it. So that's my primary one. I'd like to get an amendment, get everybody on record with that. Another one is, and again, from the taxes, seeing as that we're libertarians, I want to eliminate our state car tax. And then people immediately, I was at one program, one forum, and immediately asked the question, well, how are you going to eliminate that? It can't be done. How would you pay for it? Car tax brings in just shy of $3 billion a year. Our budget overage is just shy of $3 billion a year. You tell me how we can eliminate it. We can give everybody back their car tax.
Right.
It gets treated these things politically, like it's some impossible task. And then when you explain it to people, it's like, oh, really? Yeah, please look it up. You'll see what I'm talking about. Syncs up. So taxation is one of it. Of course, defend the guard.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big believer in that legislation. I did mention the VFW. I'm also in the American Legion. I've seen combat in two different conflicts, DL.
Mm-hmm.
As a paratrooper,
mm-hmm.
the chaplain thing is a role I did to help our young people when I noticed what was going on with everybody coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan, these younger kids. So I did 2 combat tours with it. So when I'm speaking from the heart.
Mm-hmm.
Our National Guard in Virginia and our National Guard in every state in this union should never be deployed into combat unless Congress declares an act of war. We need to stop throwing our young men and women into harm's way in undeclared wars around the world. And on top of that, at this point, I also think young men and women in our state's National Guard do not need to be acting as police officers in some other state.
Right.
That's ridiculous. Nobody signed up for this. And you've got 18 to 22-year-olds out there. First combat tour I had, 19 years old. And I remember being 19, standing on a street when all the power's out, everything's burned down at night, and you're sitting there wondering what's coming down the road. You don't put 19-year-olds locked and loaded in those type of situations. And we never need to be police officers. That's not our job. That's not our training with it. And it really needs to end. So defend the guard, I would say, is one of my top pieces of legislation in combination with reducing the tax burdens that Virginia puts on our military retirement. I don't have military retirement, but people who've done the entire 30, 40 years and they have retirement, we're one of the few states that aggressively taxes that retirement. Other states completely give them a buy for their service. So that's another area with it. And then lastly, school boards. On my end, schools are a local thing. But the thing when I'm talking about a lot of these things, Virginia is a Dillon's Rule state.
What does that mean?
That's what it means, that every local, county, municipal government only has specific powers that are granted to it by the state.
Okay.
So if you really want to change what's allowed locally in a Dillon's Rule state, you need to be in the General Assembly.
Okay.
And this is something that everybody needs to understand better. And they really need a politician who's going to call it out and explain it and put people on record and explain how it's working. But at the state, if we decide something with DOE or at the state level, everything beneath has to follow that to the letter. They can't move outside the powers that are specifically granted to the local governments with it and local school boards. But that's another thing I want to look at. I think we've got less than we got a handful of charter schools in Virginia. And when I say a handful, literally, not many. You look at DC, you look at Maryland, hundreds of charter schools. Virginia, well, why not? Well, because Virginia, guess who has to finally approve if a charter school can be certified? The local school board. Do you think the local school board is going to certify competition?
Right.
So We need a set of standards, a specific set of standards of what it takes to open a charter school, and that's it. If you meet this criteria, you've done A, B, C, D, you got the right certified people, you got the right building, everything's approved, you can open. Not, now we're going to let the school board decide if they want competition. I am a libertarian. I believe competition breeds excellence. If we have no competition, we get soft, we get lazy, we don't react. We need competition in every aspect to really wake our government up and make sure that it's maintaining the level. Because if we give them total control without competition, what do they care?
Right.
You know what? I manage hotels for a living. I have to worry about what my entire comp set's doing at all these different properties, what the market's doing. I have to look at this every day.
Right.
Now, if all the hotels in my comp set were burned down, disappeared, how much work would I have to do?
Right.
Would I have to worry about a rate that fits the market, or now can I charge $500 a night? If I have no competition, I'm going to get lazy and do whatever I want to do because I'm going to have complete control. And I think, that's human nature. What forces us to really step up, what forces us to work, what gets us up in the morning is that competitiveness. And that competitiveness is not a bad thing. This is drive. It's not so we can be better than the other person. It's so we can both make ourselves better by working up. And that's what we need at our school and our government level. We need competition for them.
All right. So you said you had some other things that you wanted to get into. So let's make sure that we don't, what other things did you want to discuss so that we don't lose any time on that?
Now, I just wanted to jump back almost to where, because I will ramble and talk all day, like I told you. I want to come back around to what we're dealing with as a nation right now while we have a bit of a platform with it. The partisan rhetoric needs to end.
Mm-hmm.
And come election day, New Jersey, Charlotte, the mayor, the guy's running for mayor down there. I think you just talked to him the other day. Good guy.
Yeah.
Here in Virginia, election day is coming up, and people are going to go to those ballots, and there's going to be individuals there to hand you that suggested ballot. They're going to hand you that Republican suggested ballot. They're going to hand you a Democrat suggested ballot. Most of these libertarians, there's going to be somebody there just to hand you their issues. When you look at your suggested ballots, you're not going to see the issues. But my concern, and what I'm finally seeing change, at least in my community talking, we grab these suggested ballots, we have a bunch of names that we do not know, and we run in and we fill out every single little circle like a good school child will, and we run out to get our sticker. And most of the time, except for maybe the top of the ticket, the governor's race, you probably don't even know half the names of the people you voted for. Mm-hmm. So I do want to give that ask. Look at the candidates. Check out your candidates. Spend 5 or 10 minutes. We have to get away from going down and picking up these suggested ballots and just blindly following what some stranger who we've never met hands us. And I'm that stranger. I'm handing you my paperwork and saying, look, here's who I am, here's my issues, please give me a look. I'm a stranger too. But we should look at these things before we get there. And that's what I'm asking people. Look into who your candidates are and look for your libertarian candidates, your third party and independent candidates, because the only way that we end this, the only way that we bring both the old parties back to the middle, competition. Just what we were talking about at the government level, it needs to be there at the political level. These two old parties, you think they have competition, people. They don't. They look at states and they divide us up. And I'm taking this half, you get that half, and these will be our 3 or 4 swing districts where we'll really fight over it to see who's going to win the majority. I don't even believe they actually want the majority more than one term. And that's why it goes back and forth. Because you know what happens when you get the majority? You have to deliver.
Right.
When has anybody delivered? I mean, look at the federal side. Get the same thing, because I know we're talking about Virginia and people are watching nationally. So let's look at the federal side. If you've got a Democratic president and you had control of Congress and House just, 5 years ago? Mm-hmm. At the beginning of Biden's cycle, where's all those great Democrat bills they were going to get through?
Right.
And then you got the reversal for Republican again. Where's all these? Where's any of the measures we thought were going to get through for Republican? I'm not being facetious to either party, but the politicians are playing a game.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want the majority more than one cycle because then they would have to deliver, and they never have an intention to deliver. And until they have a challenge that's not red or blue, until they have a third party of any sort challenge that really makes it, it's not going to change. So, one, when you're voting, please keep that in mind across the nation, not just here in Virginia. And two, think about running for office. Please consider stepping up. It's a thankless thing, but it's the only hope. If we just keep getting up and going, we know what we're charging into, but if enough of us do it, we're going to start breaking through. Mm-hmm. That's really what I wanted to get across, DL. Thanks for the extra time on that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Speaking of carving us up, if you will, and, you sent me an article from the Cardinal News, and it's titled House Democrats Silent on Proposed Amendment to Allow Congressional Redistricting Before Midterms, but some Democratic challengers like the idea. So, I read the article. It's fairly lengthy article. Tell me, for people that aren't in, the area where they're familiar with this, like, national viewers and people like me in Florida and whatnot, kind of give us an overview of what's going on and then what happened to you, because you made a very interesting point, and I don't have your message, but you were like, it's like everybody versus me. So kind of explain that to us a little bit.
Well, first, because national politics, again, which is what we were just talking about, this redistricting to give control and give more senators and more delegates to each party on the midterm elections coming up to fight Trump, anyway, that's taking place in Virginia now. Now, here's the thing with it is last Tuesday, Wednesday, a week ago, suddenly in the news cycle, Virginia Democrats are going to call a special session to redistricts, just like Texas did, to fight Trump. And of course, Republicans start coming out about how they're going to have to fight it. We don't know what we're going to do. But the reality is, I just looked into it, DL.
Right.
And we got Article 12, Section 1 that says, yes, they can call a session. They can set us up for redistricting to make it simple for people out there. And then they can vote on that special decision after the next general election for the House of Delegates. What it's really saying, what it really boils down to, we can put in a change to our Constitution. We can put in an amendment, but then we have to wait until after the next election to actually vote to put it on the ballot, because that gives the voters an opportunity to say, hey, I don't like that you voted for that. I'm voting for the other guy, so you can't push it through. It's to give the voters control at the end of the day. But, a couple things there. Over the weekend, I got that inquiry from the news with it, and I just said basically what it is. In my mind, I'm thinking everybody's saying the same thing. Mm-hmm. Article 12, Section 1 states A, B, C, D. The earliest they could do this would be after the 27 general election in 28. That's my response. They put it up. And then they ran with the article about nobody responding. And when I was looking at the article, it's like, so-and-so Democrat Fairfax versus so-and-so Republican Fairfax versus Libertarian Dave Crance. I like the way it was laid out. It was so obvious, because on top of it, then you look at the politicians' answers from the two old party. What did they answer? No answer. Just nothing. They don't have to answer. And there's my answer. Well, no, because articles, da-da-da-da-da. It's just, to me, it was just breaking it down.
Right.
So, I did put out a tweet with that link in the article and saying that, you could save a few words and just say entire Fairfax Uniparty versus Libertarian Dave Crance.
Right.
I'm against all of them. And from there, I think yesterday, Mayorkas, who is our Attorney General, he actually released his decision on the matter, which I almost wanted to put up a meme of the kid copying out the other guy. It was literally exactly what I wrote 4 or 5 days ago. And it's a fact. Right. So what it was boiling down to, the message I was getting across, this whole thing that they're pushing through right now for this amendment, again, neither side wants it. Mm-hmm. But They started the process last Tuesday, Wednesday. What do you think started on Thursday? Early in-person voting expanded throughout the state. So what they're doing, both parties, in my opinion, they're calling a special session. They're screaming about how the other one's bad, trying to do this so they can motivate their base right in the middle of early voting. It's about motivating their base. At the end of the day, they can pass an amendment because if you got a majority, you can pass anything you want.
Right.
It's not going to hold up in court because our general election started 5 weeks ago. Tens of thousands of people voted in Virginia. The next general election isn't until 27. So it's an exercise in futility that's going to result in nothing once it goes to court. That's just a fact. But again, the games, those are the games. They're playing it out, trying to motivate their base. And then suddenly the AG releases his thing yesterday. Things start quieting down a little. They just play us like we're instruments out here, you know? And that's kind of the point of it is, again, the partisan rhetoric, the partisan games when there's no intention of getting anything done.
Right.
Now, there was an individual who put into there, I think part of what you saw there was about, thank you so much for running this cycle, last cycle, and fighting the Democrats and this and that. But, you know, that answer that I gave is kind of really what it boils down to for me. I'm not running against Democrats, DL. I'm not running against Republicans. None of us should be running against those two. I'm running for the people of Falls Church and Fairfax. I'm running for every single one of my neighbors, whether they're Democrat or Republican. I'm running up to bring us back to the middle and to represent them. And that's really why we need more people coming out, not to run against people, but to run for our people, to work for our people, and to be serious about it.
That's great. I don't think I could have said it any better. Let's check out a couple comments in the chat. Just I don't see any questions, but we'll just throw some comments up here on the screen for you. So Keith says, going back to when you were talking about, hey, people are just handing out, you know, a flyer and say, hey, look at this candidate, whatever. He says people look at the ingredients on a food package, but not the candidate record. Granted, food may seem more important sometimes. So fair point. And it's
good one, Keith. Thank you.
Like, you know, he brings up a really good point, as do you. We have organizations like I'm drawing a blank on the name of it.
Ballotpedia?
Well, there's Ballotpedia, but I was thinking of I always forget something in the show. I think that's going to be my thing. But it's the magazine where you can go and you can look up reviews, Consumer Reports. So like people will go and get a Consumer Reports because they want to check out like, hey, this washer and dryer, I'm going to spend, you know, however much money. I want to make sure I get a good one. I want to check out this car. I want to check out this. You know, we read the reviews on products on Amazon before we purchase them. But do we really do the same thing when it comes to our candidates and say, beyond this guy's red, I'm red, this guy or gal is blue, I'm blue, yellow, etc., right? Whatever party, whatever team you're part of, we don't really take a look and say, is this really somebody that I want representing me based on how they act, the policy issues that they're presenting, you know, how, maybe even their track record if they've been in office prior. Like, it's weird that we don't really hold them to it, but we do that for virtually everything else on some level. So I thought that was kind of.
I saw a comedian who was referring to COVID when all the panic was in, because one of the things I find fascinating is how quickly we went from trust the science to the science is evolving. You know, it was like, trust the science, don't question. The science is evolving now. And this comedian had a really good point. He's like, so here we are, and like bad things are happening. People are getting sick. We're worried. We're like, you know what? I'm going to go online. I'm going to research this. No, don't do that. Trust the science. How dare you research on your own? He said, but if I go buy a car, hey, I'm going to go buy a car, Joe. I'm going to look it up. I want to look up some of the specs on it. No, don't do that. Trust the salesman. You know? Right.
Trust the salesman. Oh boy.
Do not research yourself, because what do you know about cars, Dave? You don't know anything about cars. Are you a car mechanic? No, you're not. So you need to trust that salesman. He knows about cars. I mean, that's what we're doing with politics.
Right.
We're trusting the salesman. Don't research. If you research, you're bad. And the other thing is, don't go to the other table. You might get infected. Sometimes I feel like that watching polls. You see people come in both sides, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like the other table will talk to them. Not even me. The other table will talk to them like taking a wide swing. Like, what are you going to catch? Democratism? Or are you going to catch Republicanism if you get too close? Is it contagious? Right. Maybe we should put up magic plexiglass boxes in front of these tables to protect people.
Right.
There's things where I just don't know, brother.
Yeah, I hear you. No, it's interesting. And then, hey, look, we'll add to that, while we're on this, this kind of little kick here. Not only do we research in other areas, when we get a product or a service that we don't like, or, maybe it turns out not to be what we thought it was going to be, we demand refunds. We want to talk to the manager. We yell at people. But we don't quite do that when it comes to politics. So I think, I think there's a message in here is that, for the libertarians who are going to run, number one, be very personable, like Dave here, and, go out, lead with, here's who I am. I'm your neighbor, those kind of things. Before you start talking about libertarianism, before you start talking about the other teams and all that. But then, encourage people to hold their elected representatives accountable, after the fact. And, whether they're red, blue, or if a libertarian gets elected, or not if, but, where libertarians do get elected, they get elected sometimes, hold them accountable just as well. And I'm sure that you're willing to say, hey, everything I told you on the campaign trail, when you elect me, if I don't do that, hold my feet to the fire, come at me. Right. And I think that's how we make the change in the world today. So go ahead.
I agree. And also, I think you kind of hit on something else when you're like, libertarians do get elected. I think we're the ideal representatives for the local level.
Yes.
Representing our local communities to the state, representing our local communities to federal government. Who do you want representing your community, people? Do you want somebody who's thinking about how do I move up the line and get that next spot and move up to this and move up to that within my party hierarchy? Mm-hmm. Or do you want the guy that's going to be down there fighting for your community and not really caring about party hierarchy or what I have to represent? Libertarians, and I'm not just saying because I'm one, we make the best fighters for our community.
Right.
And I think that's, again, what you said. We don't lead off with the libertarian issues. We lead off with what we believe, which just coincidentally are libertarian. And when I go to a door and start talking to people, it's like, that makes sense. I agree. Good luck to you. The libertarian part of it's like the least part of it. But I would tell everybody, when you talk to your neighbors, you're going to find out they're all libertarians. The majority of people are libertarians. They just don't realize, and the title is painted different ways, so people fear it. But if we aren't talking, people aren't going to realize it. I mean, technically, I could say 1 in 4 people in my community is libertarian. I'm the most libertarian community in the world. Technically, if you look at voters, right? But I don't think it's that way. I think it's a natural thing when people realize it.
Got it. Hey, we're getting to our end of our show. Anything else that we need to cover before we close the show out today?
Dave4va.com.
Yeah. Oh, let me get that. I totally messed that up.
Pull in the politician angle, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Dave4va.com. Please.
Yeah, there it is.
Visit the website with it. Please visit my social media, my Facebook, Dave4va on Instagram, my Twitter at Dave Crance. It can't be simpler than that. If you Google me, I'm going to come up. Please visit my sites. Please share the information. Share what I'm putting out there on social media these next 5-6 days, because we're in the final 7. It's 6+ right now. Share anything you can. And again, we are wrapping up the campaign, but we still have a lot of expenses that we've invested in it. I've invested, and many people have invested. We've still got some materials to get for the final day. We'd like to run final ads. So if you could chip in even $5, $50, any amount whatsoever, it does help us get the word out. As soon as you check our social media, you will see we've been very aggressive about that. And every penny that comes in, if you can actually, Virginia has a great thing. It's called VPAP, VPAP.org. If you look up VPAP site, you can see all the filings. You can see all the money that's been spent. I'm running against opponents that had $400,000 or $500,000 in the cycle for an $18,000 a year job. But if you look at mine, we've raised good money. I think we're at 15 or 16,000 now. But if you check into it, you'll see that for every dollar I receive, I put in two. If I'm asking people to join me in this battle, I have to be committed to it also. So don't put in $3,000 because I won't be able to match it. But any donation, 50, 500, we can use to help, even if it's just $5. Put it in. We've still got 7 days to fight it out. Awesome. Thank you for reminding me to bring that up, Dio.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, sir. I'm going to put you backstage. I'll close the show out, and then if you need to go, that's fine. I understand that. But if you want to stay, we can chit chat for a couple minutes after the show.
Sure, absolutely.
But I
I'll grab a cup of coffee while you do that.
Yeah, I thank you for joining, sir. It's been a wonderful conversation. I hope I hope that libertarians that are watching will promote this particular episode, and then just kind of show like, hey, this is how you be personable, right? Like these are some good ways. Just watch and mimic. Right?
And if you're in Virginia or the DMV area, reach out to me. I can use your help election day, whether it be for 3 hours, 2 hours, or a whole day. We'll get you taken care of and get you up here.
Awesome. All right, I'm gonna put you backstage real quick.
Yes,
and then
thank you for having me on. And thank you everybody
sir.
out there listening. I really appreciate your time this morning.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, folks, there you have it. That's the show. I hope you enjoyed the show. Hope you found it inspiring and informative, whether you're watching me live now, or maybe you're watching later. Come back, drop a comment in, and let me and Dave know your thoughts. Did we miss anything? I don't know that we're going to offer necessarily any corrections per se, but maybe you want to come back and be promiscuous with praise and just be like, wow, that Dave was just so great. I want to be just like him. He is a god. Right. Just like that one teenager said from the Democrat family. So maybe that's you, or maybe you just want to come in and gripe. That's fine too. We totally get it. It's politics. We are all ears. But with that, we're going to be out. Remember, there's a show tonight, 6:30 p.m. I will have on, let me get to back to my notes here. Tonight, I'm going to have on Alan Rubio for Everett City Council, District 4. Then tomorrow morning, we're doing Matthew Morgan for New York City City Council candidate for Brooklyn's 39th district. That's a mouthful there. And then Thursday night, we got Roberto Torres for Toledo mayor. So tune in. But until then, I will see you guys tomorrow or tonight. I'm used to saying tomorrow. So have a good one, folks. You know that I'm all about supporting organizations that hold my values. Make sure you head on over to blackgunsmatter.shop. They've got apparel, stickers, and more. Use the code LibertyDad, all one word, at checkout to score a 10% discount. Or just hit the referral link in the show notes. That'll make it so much easier. Remember, I'm not just a voice on a mic. I'm a dad who's working hard to deliver to you the best libertarian content. Connect with me on Linktree, where you'll find links to my Patreon and buy me a coffee, because, every bit helps keep this show rolling. Plus, you can find me on my other platforms to stay in the loop. With your help, this show, The Message of Liberty, will be seen and heard by more people. As always, I appreciate you tuning in and look forward to seeing you in the next episode.